The success you guys have had in the second half, the last two games, and the key to getting some points in the book before halftime as well?
I think probably it's a rhythm thing, kind of finding our niche, so to speak. We're fairly multiple on offense. We try a couple different things, what we think may work that week, personnel and matchups, and just kind of find our way. I thought last week against Louisville, probably the key was, I think with the quarterback, with BJ, not have practiced as much the last week and a half. I thought his rhythm was a little off. The first half had some, routine plays, I'd say you'd call them in the first half, and just didn't look like his timing was right. And as he got more in a groove, we got some easier throws for him. Then I think the offense kind of took off because the run game was fairly consistent throughout the game. Had a good rushing day, but I thought the passing game probably didn't really click to the second half, and it kind of all melded together at that point.
Todd, that goal line stand, I just want to ask you, I'm sure you guys are kicking yourselves about it because you had the same thing in the Temple game as well. Just what you saw is the main problem on those three shots from the one.
It was kind of a wild situation, obviously, with a penalty involved in that whole thing.
Right.
The way it all happened. They were going to be in a defensive front. We thought they were going to. They were getting to a big set. We were trying to get the ball to the B gaps and wider. The play was hitting a little bit tighter than we wanted to hit a couple times in there. The one that we scored, we got to about the B or C gap a little wider, and the one that went DJ with the left on the offsides call. But I think the biggest thing was at the point of attack, we were probably a little tighter than we wanted to be on some of those tracks, and we wanted that play to hit a hair wider than it was on two of the plays for sure. One of them, the sneak, was a look that where he saw, he thought he had a gap seam there he could get in there, and that was on the sneak. But the two other plays were plays we thought would hit a little wider than they did.
Looked like your running game took a nice jump last week, particularly with Lindsey. Do you kind of see that continuing to evolve?
Well, yeah, we kind of touched on that in the off week. That it came out of the week before the Temple game that there was flashes of that happening. And just with him and Marcus, they all three had touches. And Murray also had I think 12 carries, 13 carries, something like that. But those guys with a little bit of burst in the second level, if we get them to the second level, it can create some running space for themselves. And I think that adds yardage to it. That piles on yardage. And that's where, like, with BJ being kind of nicked the last 2 or 3 weeks, those guys have picked up that yardage that maybe BJ has, part of the run game. So I think that will be something we continue to evolve and roll into. And the thing that's pleasing to us is all three running backs made significant contributions in that game because Demetrius did a real nice job in the coming out areas. He punched some goal line stuff in there and the 2-point play, and they all had a role, so that was good.
Going back to the goal line stand, when you have the ball that close, does it make it harder to sort of take some chances? Because you also have the two jump balls to Andre.
Yeah.
So, as far as the play calling, when you have it that close, does it make it tough?
Yeah, if you take a shot, you want to take it on early downs down there. But, as you look back on it, the ball, like we talked about it after the game, I think it was, this far. If we had a yard and a half, 2 yards, then you kind of say, well, we might have trouble sticking it in there. But you certainly want to believe in your guys. You want to send a message of confidence to your front guys, especially. Hey, we're going to push it in. We had played decently at that point. As an offense, like you said in the running game earlier, and you want to send a message and push it in on the end if you can. There's always a thought of throwing it. There's no doubt about that. But if you throw it, you want to throw it early down. Generally speaking, down there.
What do you see out of this version of the Syracuse defense, and are there any major differences from last year?
Yeah, schematically very, very similar to our 2 years here. Defensive coordinator's been the same, Coach Schaefer. What I see of them is just they've matured. The linebacking core has been good. Our first year here, the linebacking core was very good. They've made some changes over the course of the year. I think their linebackers are as good a group since we played in Florida State. Really good. I'm really impressed with their linebacking core. And the thing that sticks out, it's a very aggressive defense. Not because they blitz more than anybody else, but they tackle very, very well. They're holding people to 115, 116 yards rushing, doing a good job in total defense. And I think it's a mentality they have in their football team that is on the defensive side of the football for sure. That they're very physical. The 21, the strong safety, I think he's the best hitter in our league. He tries to knock himself out about every time he hits somebody. I swear to you. He's like a missile. And so guys like that jump out. And that's respect people who play that way. So I'm looking forward to playing them because I think it's a physical group that play football the right way. And our guys are going to have a great challenge. We talked about last week being a physical matchup. That Louisville had a nice defense, we thought, and our guys responded to the physical challenge of it, I thought, very nicely last week against Louisville. It will be that much and maybe more this week because this is a very physical unit.
You've had since the season started, road trips, Nevada, short week, road. It seems like the season seems to be settling down. You got a couple. Is this kind of a nice rhythm to look forward to, a couple of home games in a row?
Yeah, it sure is. You know, you had the off week, and we traveled obviously, and come back, and you know, it's nice to not have that travel on a Friday afternoon, and you kind of put your feet down and get into a little bit of rhythm. We got 2 home games here in a row, and then we have another off week, so hopefully we can continue to grow where we grew in the Louisville game and finish off the game. You know, obviously we want to finish the games the next 2 weeks, and you know, get some rhythm back to our team and get a little confidence back with our team and finish this thing the right way. That's the whole goal. We talked about the halfway point. I mean, it's a tough loss. We talked about it after the game. I mean, at points we played really, really well. You know, at points we didn't finish the job. And the question was asked, you know, as an offensive coach, you got to look at it one way. We got to punch it in on the goal line. And we get the ball back with a minute 27. You know, we're in a tough situation, obviously, but you got to finish. You know, we scored, we did some things, but you know, you got to look at yourself first, and you got to do your part, and we got to do more. And that's how we look at it. And we went to work today, and you know, and our kids understand that, and we had a good day's work. So that's our challenge, and that's why you come to work.
Is there a timetable for Popek's return?
You know what? I don't know that. I know he's going to be a little bit of time, but you know, I hope, you know, we got the off week coming up in 2 weeks that we can get him back at that point. But that would be, you know, probably another week or so before we get a real good judge on that.